Premier, irony of ironies, we're on the same flight going to Montreal.
Yeah.
You're meeting with the Prime Minister and other premiers. What are you hoping to accomplish over the next 2 days?
Well, we want to talk about jobs, we want to talk about carbon tax, we want to talk about the illegal border crossers, we want to talk about cannabis. Those are some of the issues. Unfortunately, none of these are on the agenda. And having a conference with the 13 premiers the other day, they're upset about it. The agenda has to change to focus on the priorities. We aren't there to listen to three of his ministers give us political lectures. We want to talk about substance.
So already, is this getting off to a rough start?
Well, it's not getting off to a good start. All 13 premiers voiced their opinion, told the PMO that we aren't happy with the agenda. We want to be talking to the Prime Minister himself. We want to talk about issues that matter. That's, again, the carbon tax, the pipeline, jobs, and it just doesn't seem to be on the agenda.
So what will you do if it doesn't get on the agenda?
Well, let's stay tuned and see what happens. I want to work with them. I want to be collaborative on ideas that are going to grow Ontario, on employment and other areas, but I need his cooperation.
This is going to be an interesting meeting for the Prime Minister because he's lost a lot of his Liberal premiers, and he has new personalities on the opposite political spectrum, including yourself, to deal with.
Yes.
How do you think that's going to change the dynamic?
Well, I think it's going to change the dynamic in the way that we aren't yes people to the Prime Minister. We're focused on our own province, and each province has certain issues. We want to knock down the trade barriers between the provinces and discuss about jobs and pipelines and the GM loss of jobs out in Oshawa, but he doesn't want anything to do with that.
And when it comes to carbon tax, I mean, your government introduced their own climate change plan just a few days ago. Do you think in any way that will appease him, or are you going to try and still talk him out of imposing a carbon tax on Ontario?
Well, you know something, it was a great plan that Minister Rod Phillips put out there. It was a fair, responsible plan, and hopefully we'll see the reaction. But we find areas of the environment very important that we have to focus on, to the tune of, I believe it's $400 million we're sinking into this plan. So we take it very serious, but we want to make sure that we work with them. I think it's 500 million, not 400, but here and there, we're taking it very serious.
So what is on your wish list, your number one wish list in your conversation with the Prime Minister, which you're having a conversation with him today, this afternoon?
We have to come to terms on this job-killing carbon tax. It's a job killer. It's just a tax, and hopefully we can come up with an agreement on the carbon tax. I also want to talk about the loss of jobs out in Oshawa with General Motors. I want to talk about the illegal border crossing, and then right across the country, they've put this cannabis on the backs of all of the premiers, and right now there's no supply. The supply is dried up, and as you see the articles across the country, that it's becoming a real issue, and that relates to jobs too, because there's thousands of jobs at stake right now.
And last question, Premier, is there any chance that the premiers will refuse to meet with the Prime Minister if he doesn't acquiesce to their demands on what's on the agenda?
Well, I'm not too sure. We all want to sit down.
Is it a possibility? Are you speaking to other premiers about this?
All the premiers get along, actually. We had a great meeting in New Brunswick. We have two new faces at the table, with the Premier of New Brunswick and the Premier of Quebec. Talked to both of them. Great folks there, and we just look forward to moving our agenda as the premiers forward.
Are you going to have to appease Premier Legault over the French language?
Oh no, he's something. I think we've went leaps and bounds on Franco-Ontarian community, making sure that we have a standalone ministry for Francophone affairs.
But he's still not happy with you.
Well, everyone. The only thing that we've left out really is the university, and the reality, we canceled 3 other universities. We just don't have the money, and that's what it comes down to. And we want to make sure that we work with the Francophone Ontarian community and try to help them any way we can. They're a very important part of our province.
Premier, thank you very much. I'll see you in Montreal.
Yeah, good. Excellent.